All right, man. Let's go over to the NFC. We got the NFC East. And for the odds for the audio listeners out there, we have minus 140 for the Philadelphia Eagles, plus 175 for the Dallas Cowboys. We have plus 1100 with the Washington Commanders and plus 1600 for the New York Football Giants. Overall, this is a two-team race according to Vegas and according to myself, and I'm sure, Gabe, you feel the same way. Who do you have coming out of this division?
Yeah, I think the Giants are absolute trash. Commanders is kind of like this mishmash. I don't know what the Commanders' identity is going to be going forward. I mean, there's a lot of transition with the Commanders. Sadly, I do have to say the Dallas Cowboys, with heart in my head, with a bowed head, I have to take my hat off and say I'm Dallas Cowboys. Somehow you will be competitive in this division. They're high on the Eagles. I don't know how high the Eagles should be. I mean, this is like I think this is kind of predictive of them going to the Super Bowl. I think the odds makers believes that the Eagles can make it back to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be so high on the Eagles. I do think they're a good team, a fun team, but this should be a fun two-horse race. But I'll go with the Eagles. I'll go with the odds, but I'm not going to sit here and say that they're going to be champs this year.
You see Saquon, bro? Saquon? No, to me, it's the Eagles. It's the Eagles all day. I think, man, the Dallas Cowboys, they just never know how to show up in important moments, end of season. They just continue. I think last year they started to kind of go against that. But to me, it's still the Eagles. They're just still so good. The offensive line is still one of the best in the league. You still got Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, now Saquon, Jalen Hurts. This is the Eagles all day for me. I thought the Eagles had a down year. I think a lot of people expected a lot from them last year in 2023. I think they're going to bounce back and be just as good. Dallas, look, man, they're a playoff team. I think the NFC is really weak. I want to talk about that as the conference as a whole. AFC to the NFC. The AFC is just a way deeper, way stacked at the top. So there's that. Dallas, they're going to be a playoff team, but I don't know if they can. And I think Dallas is going to be competitive in the division. I'm just curious how well it shapes out throughout the rest of the season against these other teams. I got to take a look at their schedule to be sure, but I like the Eagles here, man. They're just too good. I love the way they run their offense and their system, and also defensively, they're really well ran, and they're playing their week 1 game in Brazil, so we'll see how well that goes. You're not getting a time difference, but you're getting a little bit of a time difference. You're getting like an hour or something ahead, but that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, they play on Friday.
You are still a long flight. It's still a long flight. It's like an 8-hour flight to get down there.
They're traveling. You don't know. I don't know. I haven't been watching I haven't been watching them, so I don't know if they, got there a week ahead and they've been doing whatever. I'm sure if they're traveling.
You don't got your finger on the pulse, Gabe?
No, man. I listen. I just found out just like you. Okay, I just found out that they were coming week 1. I figured there's going to be like some, week 3 or week 4 or something. But
I will say that is wild to come week 1. I mean, maybe it's for the best. Maybe it's like it gives you more time to set up, like maybe for the NFL's sake, to like, okay, like let's get down here early, like a month early. Set up, how are we going to structure this? How are we going to flood people into the stadium? Maybe, like I said, I haven't been up on the Eagles training camp. Maybe they've been down there. I don't know. Well, then again, they played preseason games, so they would have had to been up here. But with no week 4 preseason game, they could have went down early after roster cuts. I wonder if the coach and them went down. I'm curious, but maybe week 1 is for the best because you get more time potentially. So, yeah.
We shall.
All right. This one I'm going to say is the most trash division in all the NFL. And this is the NFC South. So I sat down here, man. This was probably the division I spent the most time. This is the one I spent the most time on, and I felt like just for no reason. But you have the Atlanta Falcons at minus 145. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 290. The New Orleans Saints plus 550. The Carolina Panthers plus 1100. I'm just going to say it right here. I think Carolina, they're going to get the wooden spoon once again. They're going to be terrible, probably the worst team in the league. Calling it now. They're going to be top 5 for sure. Top 5 worst team. New Orleans. I think it's just time to hit reset on that New Orleans button. Honestly, just start over. Tampa, Atlanta. These are the 2 main dogs. Atlanta, bring in Kirk Cousins. You're bringing in a stable quarterback. I thought last year, for the most part, they played really well, especially in the beginning part of the season. And then it slowly started to fall off, especially after the London game, losing to Jacksonville. And then Desmond Ridder just being absolutely terrible. So you're bringing in a little bit of stability with with Kirk Cousins, and then obviously drafting Michael Penix Jr., which was a little bit of a surprise for a lot of people, especially considering the big deal Kirk Cousins brought in. And then Tampa running it back again. I took a look at Tampa's transactions and rosters. This is like the same team, man. Running it back, still bringing in veterans, re-signing them, restructuring them, short-term deals. Baker, I think they felt really good about where they ended the season last year, making it to an NFC championship, going on a run that a lot of people didn't expect. Was it NFC championship or divisional round? I'm drawing a blank because now I'm questioning myself. Nonetheless, they made a decent run into the playoffs. I don't know what to expect from Atlanta. It's kind of one of those where, yes, they were on a run and they played well, and then the quarterback situation kind of really made them fall apart. But Kirk Cousins is also a guy who's been not showing up in big games. He's a consistent quarterback for the most part, except for when it comes to like those big moments where you need to step up. And Baker, to me, has completely revitalized his career. He's, to me, proven that he is a starter in the NFL and has played well. And if you put a good team around him, he is going to be good. I actually have Tampa winning this division and Atlanta getting second. Wow. But I do think both these teams are getting in the playoffs.
Really? That's interesting.
That's my little hot take. I think both these teams get in. I think both find a way to get in. But I have Tampa winning it.
I see the odds a little bit high on the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, I'll give them their exciting offense. I don't know anything about any of these defenses. I'm going to be a little surprised. I think the Saints are going to be a little bit better than what you think. I'm going to be a little bit higher on the Saints. I have been in the past. The Buccaneers.
Dude, I've been high on the Saints for like 4 years. Like, and like for the audio listeners who's listening to this for the first time that are getting mad at me because of whatever I just said about the Saints, bro, I've been defending the Saints on this show for like the past 3 years, and I'm just over it. I'm over defending them.
Yeah. And I don't know about any of these defenses. I mean, there's a couple names. I mean, obviously,
Tampa's defense.
Yeah. I know Vita Vea. These are championship guys. I guess if you want to say that they are probably going to be the best defense to run, that's fine. But none of these offenses really excite me. I think this is be super talent. Maybe a 2-horse race, Bucks and Saints. But I'm not going to be so high on the Falcons. I mean, minus 145. I mean, you got them going deep, I guess, in the playoffs. But I just don't see that. I see them maybe making the playoffs.
It's on division. Well, that's for divisional. Okay. Like for winning the division. It's the odds for winning the divisions. Okay. Like I see it there, but it's kind of like you said, it's more of like they have the potential to do it. I just have to see it. Tampa showed me that they can do it. Year in and year, they have showed me that they can do it. And I don't know why I would have any other reason. I mean, look, I like Kirk Cousins. I've defended Kirk Cousins since the Redskin days. I think the guy can play. But I don't know if he's that guy when you really need him. So, yeah, man. All right, cool. So you have who do you have?
Coming out the division, I'll have the Falcons winning, but listen, I don't know about this defense. Offense sounds exciting, but I don't know about this defense. I think the Saints going to have a little bit more talent. But, we can talk about that later.
You still have the Saints third?
I have the Saints third, yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Let's go to the NFC North. We have for the odds out there, we have the Detroit Lions plus 130. Green Bay Packers plus 200, Chicago Bears plus 340, Minnesota Vikings plus 850. Man, this is a pretty good division, I will say. Minnesota, understandably, is at the bottom. I think they're going to be I think they could be pretty competitive in the division. We'll see as time goes on. I think Chicago might be a little high. I think you're putting a lot of faith into a rookie quarterback who a lot of people didn't necessarily feel so great as a number one overall pick. I know due to who was in the draft this year and all that. I know a lot of people love him. A lot of people think he's overrated, whatever it might be. I don't know how well the Chicago Bears are going to do. I mean, we saw Justin Fields, who I think is a good quarterback and has had good moments at Chicago, but was surrounded by just abysmal talent. And I don't see how this is going to change too much. So I don't know if they're necessarily a lock in at third. But for the most part, this is a 2-team race. But Gabe, who do you got out of this division?
I would tend to agree before. I thought the Bears, I've been high in the past. I was like, man, the Bears are assembling some talent over there. It didn't obviously come to fruition last year, but, the Bears and CJ Stroud, they're a fun little team. But
you said CJ. It's funny. You said Caleb Williams for Houston, and now you're saying CJ Stroud for the Bears.
It's a throwback joke. I know. I just wanted to make that reference.
Okay. Yeah, okay. But nice cop out. Nice cop out.
But yeah. I think everybody's high on the Lions. The Lions seem like they're actually the past couple of years they've been super competitive. I was kind of a downer guy on Dan Campbell, but teams have bought in. I think he's a player coach. People buy into him, even though maybe it's not packaged well like a well disciplined coach like a Bill Belichick type or some super serious. But the Lions are competitive, man. I think this should be a fun team to watch, and I do want to see a team to watch. I do want to watch out for is the Packers. I want to see the whole package. I didn't get to watch a lot of games last year, but it seemed like. Their quarterback was in an upswing that all the arrows were pointing up. So should be fun, but I got clearly the Lions winning out of this division.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have the Lions as well. I thought the Green Bay Packers last year really hit the ground running towards the end of the season and, was able to get a playoff win and go into and make the playoffs, honestly. This is a team that I think kind of flew under the radar for a lot of people. I still don't think they've made enough moves in free agency. Obviously, Green Bay has never been a big free agency team. I mean, I took a look at who they brought in this offseason, and quite honestly, I don't know a lot of these guys. So I'm curious to kind of watch them and see how well they play. These aren't household names on this Green Bay Packer team. I think for a lot of people, unless you're a diehard Packers fan, you're not going to know a lot of these guys, but they play above their name. They're playing well. But Detroit, in my opinion, and it's a little tiny spoiler for the rest of the episode, they're one of the top 3 teams in the NFC.
Whoa.
This is a really good team.
Whoa.
They have year in and year out have played extremely well. They're getting better. They have an amazing offensive line. Their wide receiver talent and running back talent has gotten a lot better. Jared Goff has completely revitalized his career. I tell you what, I would never thought in a million years when Jared Goff left LA to go to Detroit, I thought he was going to be a gap year quarterback. He's just there to fill this season, and then next year we're bringing somebody in. But this man has grabbed the bull by the balls and has taken that job and has ran away with it. He is, restructured deal. They've restructured Dan Campbell. I would have never guessed. Like genuinely, this Detroit Lions team has completely surprised me over these past couple of years. Look, man, I'm on the Lions train. I think they are going to be really good this season. But don't sleep on the Packers. They can sneak up on you for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, this is the Packers. But I got the Lions all day.
I agree.
All right, let's go to the NFC West. I'm going to say I think the NFC West is probably the least interesting of all the divisions.
Really?
Yeah, you have the San Francisco 49ers minus 190, LA Rams plus 330, Seattle Seahawks plus 700, Arizona Cardinals plus 1,300. Gabe, what do you think of this division, and who do you got?
I think this is a fun division. I think there's obviously a clear winner. I think the 49ers are going to be, these are one of these stacked teams that, until otherwise seen, the 49ers are a clear takeaway. I do want to see how the other teams compete. I think there's interesting storylines. I do want to see Maserati Marv with the Cardinals, how that matchup with Kyler Murray looks. Uh, I think the Seahawks. I think I'm a little bit higher on the Seahawks. I don't know why they're so down. The Rams aren't that overwhelming for me, but again, I have to watch a lot of these defenses. I want to see how the defenses turn out because maybe there's something I'm missing. But yeah, this is clearly the San Francisco's 49ers. There's nobody, nobody, as far as coming out of the division, nobody other close. They are the number one. But I do want to see how the 2 and 3 teams compete.
So you're excited for the Geno Smith show again?
Hey man, listen. Why are you such a hater, man? That guy reinvented himself. He has a second career. I'm high on Geno Smith. Okay, give me Metcalf, give me Lockett. Let's go.
I'll tell you one thing. It is crazy how long Metcalf and Lockett have been a duo. I would have thought by now one of them would have gotten traded or left for pieces. Like
almost. I think DK was about to leave. I think DK was up for people were looking.
Yeah, he was.
He was available.
Yeah. I'm surprised after all these years and this like weird ass rebuild they're kind of doing, but kind of not at the same time. How they managed to stay together. Yeah, I don't know what to expect from the Seahawks team. I just feel like they're going to be a middling team, like kind of competitive. Like they're going to win some games. I don't see them making the playoffs. Rams, they should be better. They're another team where like maybe they can get into a wild card spot, but like man, this is the Niners to take all day. I mean, this is probably the most lopsided. This is more lopsided than the AFC West, in my opinion. San Francisco is running away with this. It's not even close. But yeah, I like San Francisco. Hopefully they can get the job done this year if you're a Niners fan, for your sake. But we'll see, man. We'll see.